right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
We start tonight with breaking news right now. St. Louis police are on the scene of several shootings. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. At least 3 people have been shot in 3 separate incidents. One of those scenes is in North City on Elm Bank near Newstead in the Greaterville neighborhood. Our Robert Townsend is live there with new information for us. Robert.
Hey there, Mike. You know, police have been out here in this north side neighborhood for the last 90 minutes. And as I step back, you can see the yellow crime scene tapers right here. They have blocked off this area near Elm Bank and Taylor Avenue. They tell us around 8:30 tonight, lots of gunfire rang out in this neighborhood. They got here and saw at least a dozen bullets and shell casings all around this street. They tell us a man was shot. Somebody shot this guy multiple times. When officers got here, he was unconscious, barely breathing. Homicide detectives were then called in. They are still here at this hour. Police have not officially called this a homicide, but again, those detectives are back there combing this area. Right now, police have not told us anything about a possible suspect, a possible motive, or where exactly this guy was shot. But again, this north side neighborhood is completely blocked off right here. There's lots of crime scene tape. Just minutes before we went on the air, several officers they sped out of here and went to another neighborhood. I'm not necessarily sure at this point if that is connected to this, but we're on top of this. Again, this is the city's 47th homicide so far this year. You can find the very latest on KSDK.com. Live in North City, I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
And stay with 5 on Your Side with updates on this and other breaking news. We'll bring you the latest developments on air and online at KSDK.com and on the 5 on Your Side app. Well, a cool evening across St. Louis after a seasonable and sunny day.
Yes, clouds are moving in overnight, bringing a chance of rain tomorrow. Let's get the latest from Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
Well, you know, we are looking at a chance of rain tomorrow, but we're not expecting any kind of severe weather here. Tomorrow, we'll just see the rain chances around St. Louis, and it's mostly after lunchtime. We're not anticipating seeing big flight delays in and out of Lambert either, so a relatively tranquil night is going to turn into a calm morning that becomes a bit unsettled by lunchtime into the afternoon. All courtesy of this system to our west. We are looking at those scattered showers developing out along Interstate 70 west of Hayes, Kansas, out towards Denver. We're still at 66 now, considering this time last night we were well down into the 40s, and most of us started in the 30s this morning. That's a big adjustment, so it will be much milder and dry to start your Tuesday morning, but showers from about lunchtime in through the mid to late afternoon, potentially a rumble of thunder, but it's later this week that the weather really does take a stormy turn, and we anticipate a couple of rounds of potentially some stronger storms. We'll talk about the timing on those coming up in a few minutes, Kelly.
All right, see you then, Scotty. Tonight, anti-Israel encampments are spreading to several U.S. college campuses as Jews begin to celebrate Passover. Groups from Yale, Harvard, and MIT are joining in solidarity with pro-Palestinian protests at Columbia University, where Jewish students are increasingly facing harassment and targeted with anti-Semitism. President Biden was asked today if he condemns the protests.
I condemn the anti-Semitic protests. That's why I've set up a program to deal with that. I also condemn those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians and how they're being.
Tonight, local Jews gathered together for the beginning of Passover with the traditional Seder dinner.
That includes one on the campus of Washington University. And new tonight, 5 on Your Side's Laura Marcheski talked with WashU students about their concerns. Laura.
Mike and Kelly, Washington University students tell me this Passover celebration is a lot harder for them this year, as many of them think of their families in Israel who are still at war, making it even more important to come together tonight.
I mean, Passover is about the Jews being freed from Egypt, so it's about celebrating our freedom. But it's kind of hard right now because we know that there's hostages right now that are not free and not able to celebrate their freedom.
But Washington University students say they find comfort in community this Passover.
I think it's just the way that we really bring the whole community together and bring people who don't normally show up to like weekly dinners or any sort of event really get to come and experience all the different culture.
The Seder is full of symbolism. Rabbi Hershey Novak says his personal favorite is explaining the meaning of the matzah. That's the flat cracker bread on the tables.
So the idea that this same loaf, this same cracker, has two connotations. At the beginning of the narrative, it means sadness, and at the end of the narrative, it means redemption and freedom. I think that's very, very beautiful.
While unrest continues in Israel, it's also happening on a different level here on college campuses where students say it can be hard to simply be Jewish.
WashU was known as a safe place for Jewish students, which is what attracted me to the campus, that it has such a vibrant Jewish life. And coming here to see anti-Jewish, anti-Israel protests and disruptions really is disheartening.
Rabbi Novak says that's why it's so important to spread the message of peace and light.
College campuses are the proving ground for the future of America, and if we can do it here, they can do it anywhere else.
Passover officially began today at sundown and ends next Tuesday evening.
Charges have been filed against the man accused in a crash that's left a 9-year-old boy recovering in the ICU tonight. Today, prosecutors charged Kevin Johnson with endangering the welfare of a child and assault charges. Police say he was speeding when he hit a car along North Broadway near Hickey Park in North St. Louis yesterday morning. The impact pinned the child between two cars for nearly 30 minutes as firefighters and paramedics worked to free him. The child was helping load his family's car at the time. Johnson ran off after the crash and later turned himself into police.
A mother and another adult are facing charges after a 4-year-old found a gun and shot himself in the leg. The shooting happened Saturday on Green Valley Drive in North County. According to court documents, Cornelia Brew was lying in bed next to her son at the time. Tawan Smith was also in the house. Both are now facing charges of endangering the welfare of a child. They're being held on a $250,000 bond. Testimony got underway today in the trial of a man accused of killing a St. Louis police officer and wounding another. Thomas Kenworthy was arrested for killing Officer Tamaris Bohannon in 2020. He pleaded not guilty by reason of mental illness and has undergone months of mental health evaluations. According to Kenworthy's attorney, multiple people, including his ex-wife, say he's been struggling with symptoms for years stemming from childhood trauma.
Amy will tell you that Tommy often suffered from paranoid delusions and often thought people were out to get him, were following him, when there was nothing of the sort happening in the real world.
Officer Bohannon left behind a wife and 3 young children. His widow was the first person to testify today after opening statements. The trial is expected to last for the next 2 weeks.
New details about a weekend decision to cancel the historic 13 Carnival at Washington University. The largest student-run carnival in the country was canceled Saturday because of fighting. Campus police, along with the SLMPD, had to be called in. No word yet on any arrests, but university officials say canceling the festival was necessary to prioritize student safety. Students are mixed about the future of the century-old festival.
We were just about to get on some rides, and then we're walking up to the carnival, and everybody is screaming and running, and someone at first yelled "bomb," which there was not, but like everyone, there was so much confusion and panic, and people were just running in masses the other way, and we were like being swarmed, and we're like, what is going on?
Tonight, the St. Louis Zoo confirms the groups involved in Saturday night's fights at WashU plan to meet up at the zoo on Sunday. Zoo security say they were able to prevent more fights. A teenager who was armed with a weapon there was arrested.
Just hours ago, officials in Jennings announced a new $10 million healthcare facility.
City leaders are in the process of handing over the deeds of an abandoned school and church in order to make room for the brand new development. New tonight, Brent Solomon has a closer look at the project underway.
As you pass by Jennings Station Road and Schweitzer Avenue, you're greeted with this.
It look bad and smell bad.
The former Corpus Christi school has sat vacant here for years.
The red fox come through here, the wild chickens,
So you've seen all this?
Yeah, they live right there. They come out the door right back there.
Carol Griffin lives at the senior living facility next door. I told her about a new healthcare company that plans to move in, providing primary care, mental health, and even addiction recovery services.
That's something good. That's worth having.
In a statement, Preferred Family Healthcare said, "We are excited to partner with Jennings and the county to provide these services in a community that desperately needs accessible health care, as well as to turn this building into a local rallying point and source of pride."
It's a $10.4 million facility, so this is a great great investment in our community.
Mayor Gary Johnson tells me the deal moved forward after 5 on Your Side first reported on a major roadblock back in December. At the time, St. Louis County suddenly halted a program that allowed localities to purchase abandoned properties from the county. The properties had to be behind on tax payments. A couple of months after our report, Johnson says the county did a 180, allowing Jennings to move forward with purchases, including this former school and church that's now being handed over to that health group.
They will begin stabilizing and demoing the property, and we should see something within the next year.
It should have been towed out.
Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
Mayor Johnson says the new project will bring in some 30 new jobs, and he hopes to see demolition begin in the weeks ahead.
Honoring our heroes tonight, a fallen Marine from St. Charles County remembered as Missouri lawmakers honor veterans in a first-of-its-kind ceremony. Slamming the brakes on car thefts tonight, simple and affordable ways to avoid being a target of thieves.
Severe weather may target the bi-state region later this week into the upcoming weekend. An early heads up on a developing pattern.
Tonight, a U.S. Marine with local ties is being remembered. Sergeant Colin Arslanbus was killed during a training accident last week at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. He was a 2019 graduate of Fort Zumwalt West High School. We're told his family has moved away from the area. Thursday's accident is under investigation. The sergeant was honored today at the Missouri State Capitol. It happened during a ceremony honoring the 201 soldiers and sailors killed during a top-secret training exercise in World War II. April 28th marks the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Exercise Tiger. German boats attacked off the coast of England during the large-scale rehearsal for the D-Day invasion of Normandy.
Former President Donald Trump's historic criminal trial got underway today in New York in a New York courtroom. He is accused of illegally concealing hush money payments to former adult film star Stormy Daniels to keep quiet about an alleged affair. After opening statements, prosecutors called its first key witness, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, to the stand. Prosecutors have described the Trump ally as a central figure in the alleged scheme to bury stories that could have damaged his 2016 presidential campaign. He'll be back on the stand tomorrow. Car thefts are soaring, and it's happening all over.
And as thieves get smarter, so should you. Tonight, Consumer Reports reveals some helpful tips to make sure your car isn't the next target. It's a list you don't want to be on. The most stolen vehicles in America in 2022 were Chevy and Ford pickup trucks, Honda Civic and Accords, and Hyundai Sonatas. The key to keeping your car where you parked it? Make it seem like stealing is more trouble than it's worth. One way to do that, don't leave valuables in your car that can be easily spotted from the outside, and park in a well-lit spot to make your car less of a target. Remember those big chunky steering wheel locks? Police say they work because they make your car look harder to steal. The blinking red light of a built-in anti-theft device is another way to deter car thieves, and it could save you as much as 23% on your auto insurance. For even more peace of mind, you may want to add a security camera to your home to help protect your car. This one from Wise performed well in CR's tests and cost just $50. Or this camera from Nest with an automatic floodlight.
Simply having a light that turns on automatically if anyone approaches your garage can really be effective in scaring away potential thieves.
You may even be able to get away with a well-positioned video doorbell. Brandon Murphy's Ring doorbell captured his neighbor's car being stolen in the middle of the night.
The neighbor said his car got stolen. So the first thing I thought, well, we saved 5 days worth of camera feeds off of this smart doorbell. Sure enough, it was on there.
The local police were able to retrieve the car with absolutely no damage and remind the car's owner of an obvious but important anti-theft tip.
If you leave your key or your key fob in the vehicle and it's unlocked, it's an open invitation.
Some cars come with GPS tracking systems like OnStar. That won't prevent theft, but it can help find your car after the fact. You can also add an aftermarket tracking system. This weekend, Kia owners can get free anti-theft software upgrades and steering wheel locks. Qualified Kia technicians will be on hand outside Busch Stadium on Friday and Saturday from 8 until 6. Then on Sunday, they'll be at Chesterfield Mall from 8 until 3. Thefts of Kia and Hyundais surged in 2022 after viral videos showed how easy they were to steal.
Closeout sales will begin tomorrow at nearly 100 Express stores nationwide. The store at St. Clair Square in Fairview Heights is on that list. The fashion retailer announced it filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection today. The company says it's received an offer from a group for the sale of its remaining 500 retail stores. Analysts say Express has not adapted to the move from formal wear to casual wear. Many Americans are ready to take a summer vacation, even if they can't afford it. Bankrate found nearly a third of those surveyed will go into debt paying for their trip. Nearly 50% say they're skipping a summer vacation because they can't afford it.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with the weather first forecast. We mentioned what a nice day it was today.
It was beautiful.
But Scott, if you're looking ahead, Scott's been talking about the possibility of severe weather later in the week.
And I think, talking about vacations, we're still kind of in that rolling spring break time where, some folks like to go travel towards the end of April, beginning of May. Of course, it's always risky weather-wise in the middle part of the country. Well, it's quiet at Lambert now, and tomorrow we'll just have a few showers. Later this week, we do expect to see the system that's out west, and really it's more of the one that's out between Hawaii and California versus what's up in the Gulf of Alaska that's going to be heading our way. But that unsettled pattern is going to develop, and what we've seen so far this year is each one of these patterns has brought rounds of severe weather to part of our region. So the first good-sized disturbance comes in here sometime on Friday. This is just one computer model's depiction of what the upper levels of the atmosphere will look like, but certainly that's an impressive shot of energy sliding towards us for later Friday. As we go through the rest of the weekend, another big hunk of energy comes in from the southwest. So overall, this is a very basic severe weather potential setup. We're just kind of looking for the ingredients to see if they will come together in our part of the world to create problems. At this point, it looks like there's going to be shear lift, the instability, the moisture, all there. Mainly focused west of St. Louis on Friday, but this will change. But just an early heads up. From Friday, probably a break on Saturday and then into Sunday. At some point, more likely than not, we're going to have to deal with some strong to severe thunderstorms across the region. It's just too early to get much more specific than broad brushing it like that at this point. 63 right now. Winds are out of the south at 6. 72 is our high. 41 was the low this morning, but that was in St. Louis. Outlying areas down into the 30s this morning. Some of us even had a little frost. We're headed down into the lower 50s overnight tonight in town. We'll wake up to quiet conditions tomorrow morning. Clouds will be thickening across the area. By lunchtime, the chances for showers on the increase, especially north and northwest of St. Louis. And then as we head through the afternoon, that band of scattered showers and maybe a rumble of thunder sliding through the region off to the east and southeast. Some of us don't see much rain at all. Others may see upwards of 1/4 inch or more. But the timing on that, 2 to 4 o'clock looks like the best timing right now for the rain in St. Louis. And as we look at your next 10 days, it's an active period. We just don't expect the severe weather tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. But boy, when we get into Friday and into this upcoming weekend, there's a lot of sighs you hear from the weather office right now. So, it's just your alert that, hey, something's going to be happening Friday. We'll probably get a break at some point on Saturday, and on Sunday, and it's a 4 to 6 hour period at any given time, any given spot that we really have to be honed in on what's going on
That's
weather-wise.
springtime in St. Louis.
Yes, and we'll be here for you.
Okay.
I know you will. Thanks, Scott. Frank is next with sports.
SLU and Mizzou basketball are killing it in the portal. Are the Cardinals killing it at Busch Stadium? Stick around, and we're going to play hit and run with one of the best coaches of all time.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
So there have been actual boos at Busch Stadium for the Birds. Not that Cardinal fans have grown mean, But when you're in last in the league in homers and you are in last place, you need something. And they finally got it tonight against the Diamondbacks. 6th inning, 3-0 Arizona. Lars Nootbaar will drive it to left. It scores Mason Wynn and Michael Ciani. We have a 3-2 game. 7th inning, and when you interview with Channel 5 in the pregame, good things normally happen. Paul Goldschmidt with a towering 432-foot blast to right center. We are tied. 9th inning, and Nolan Gorman says, if Goldie can break out of it, so can I. 425 feet, a 2-run bomb, and the Cardinals win a thriller 5-3.
And the way it worked out was perfect. You struggle early. You hit some balls hard right at people. Their guy did a nice job navigating our lineup. But the guys talked a decent amount about it, man. The tougher it gets, the closer we get, and we just keep competing.
SLU basketball is trying to compete in the A-10 again, and the guy behind me, Isaiah Swope, will help with that. He committed today to the Bills. Swope averaged 16 points and was 4th in the country in three-pointers this season. His teammate last season at Indiana State, how about Robbie Avila? He committed to SLU on Saturday. He is one of the most versatile big men in America. 17 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, nearly shot 40% from 3. And according to the coach, listen closely, he turned down big bucks to come to SLU.
Could you say, man, he could have made maybe $500,000 more or more than that? Probably, wow. Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, he took a major discount to come here. I think the relation piece is big to him. I think the system piece is big to him, and he's smart enough to understand that, I may sacrifice this money on the front end, but I'm going to make it on the back end.
Mizzou is cleaning up also. The latest is Tony Perkins, not the actor from Psycho, but as you can see, he can knife to the rim. Perkins is transferring from Iowa, where he averaged 14 points per game and has 1,100 points on his resume. He's a 6'4 swingman. Over the weekend, they landed a 6'9 starter from Duke named Mark Mitchell. There are reports Mizzou is ever so close to signing Laird Veach as their new athletic director. The former Kansas State linebacker worked in the Mizzou athletic department about 20 years ago. He's been the AD at Memphis for the last 5 years and has raised a lot of money. We often play hit and run with a sports celebrity on Monday nights. And if you get to 900 wins faster than any college basketball coach ever, then you qualify. So tonight, with the help of editor Tom Stasiak, we play with the Hall of Famer Roy Williams. What was the good luck charm you used when you came to St. Louis, when you won your national title?
Oh gosh, I had about 100 of them. People thought I was superstitious, and I told them no, I was just taking care of the things that I could control. But down the stretch, I knew which suit was the suit that I would wear on Monday night for the national championship game, and it worked out pretty well.
The most money you've ever won against Michael on a golf course?
Not a lot. I used to beat him all the time when we first started playing. The last 15, 20 years, I haven't beaten him very often, but it's not in triple digits.
You were a high school basketball coach for 5 years before Dean Smith hired you in '78. What type of menial tasks did you start off doing when you first got there?
I sold calendars. I got to be the best daggum calendar salesman you've ever seen. But
no basketball in this world, you would have done what with your life?
I'd probably be mowing greens on the golf course 5 days a week so I could play free the other 2.
Single best basketball mind you've ever been around?
Dean Smith.
Why?
He touched everything. It was not just the X and O's on the court, but he touched everything about every individual and was always concerned about every individual. He's still the guy that can say hello to a player 20 years after he played for him and ask him how his children were and call his children by name.
What would you want one of your former players to say about Roy Williams?
That I cared, and that would be it.
You know, the thought about Dean Smith's really interesting. I was with Steve Stepanovich tonight, who Dean tried to recruit at DeSmet. And even though Steve chose Mizzou, Dean Smith sent him a Christmas card every day until Dean passed away.
Wow.
That's what kind of human being he was, and Roy was pretty good too.
So Mizzou, speaking of college basketball, Mizzou and SLU getting players out of the portal, how much work do they both have to do still?
Well, Mizzou is pretty well loaded right now. They may add a couple of pieces. SLU definitely needs to add about 3 or 4, but the talent infusion at both schools is like maybe we haven't seen in a long time.
Well, that would be a
Yep.
nice change.
Awesome.
All right, Frank, thanks.
All right, a milestone for a St. Louis favorite known for its concretes, the anniversary gift for customers. A St. Louis institution known for its concretes is celebrating a milestone this week. Ted Drew's Frozen Custard is hosting a 95th anniversary party Thursday. Other local favorites are joining the celebration and offering giveaways. It will take place Thursday from 3 to 7 at their Chippewa location.
And from sweet to salty, on Friday, another St. Louis favorite is hosting a giveaway in honor of National Pretzel Day. Gus's Pretzels will get each customer a free pretzel while supplies last, and they'll also be a part of the Ted Drew celebration on Thursday.
Pretzels and concretes.
Sounds good to me. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.